Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Vault's rendition of Grimm's Fairy Tales. Get ready for a magical evening where the timeless tales of these classic stories are coming to life. My name is Melina Zarbulas, and I'm the president and founder of the Vault.
My name is Marlo Pulliam, and I'm the vice president and founder of the Vault.
My name is Vase Lumani. I'm the co-vice president of the Vault.
And hello, my name is Annalise McDonald. I'm the co-president of the Vault.
Tonight we are going to embark on a journey through forests and castles brought to life by the stunning designs and captivating narratives you are about to witness. Each collection is inspired by the beloved Germanic folklore stories that have been passed down through hundreds of years of generations, reimagined in the most exquisite outfits.
For those of you that don't know, the Vault is a student-run organization blending the multitude of facets behind fashion, business, and creativity. We connect aspiring creatives, industry professionals, and entrepreneurs. We are proudly partnered with the Wisconsin School of Business and School of Human Ecology, and throughout the semester, we host a variety of different events such as workshops to delve deeper into the technical perceptions of fashion, panel events with speakers with extensive experience, and today we host our 5th ever fashion show. In only 2 years, the Vault has grown to over 450 members and has redefined diversity and creative expression within the Wisconsin community.
For the past semester, the Vault has been tirelessly working to analyze the Grimm brothers' Germanic folklore to spend over 30 hours a week to create outfits from scratch based on symbolism, metaphors, characters, and objects. Each piece you'll see tonight is not just a garment, but a story actually brought to life through design, texture, and fabric. This process has involved countless hours of research, sketching, prototyping, and collaboration, as our members sought to bridge the gap between the past and present, blending traditional elements with contemporary fashion.
We want to acknowledge all of our incredible teams here at the Vault helping bring this show to life. The Memorial Union and the Wisconsin School of Business and the School of Human Ecology for support. And also introduce a quartet called The Approximations for their beautiful renditions to be performed today by Andy Levin, Lee Swim, Nicole Saunders, and Kelsey Pullock.
Today, our lovely quartet is here to show a juxtaposition of Grimm's. We all grew up on these classic fairy tales, including Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, Sleeping Beauty, and Rapunzel, mostly as told through Disney, but the original Grimm's tales are far different and darker. While we have our beautiful models walking through the runway with outfits inspired by the classic folklore, our quartet will be singing a modernization of these stories as we know them today, so we can capture this dichotomy.
Before we officially begin the show, we ask that you please turn your attention to the screen for a short video.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Vault's Fall 2024 Fashion Show. The Vault is a student organisation at UW-Madison that aims to dismantle the narrow perception of the fashion industry by focusing not just on the design element, but on the intersections between business, technology, and creativity. The organisation offers students an opportunity to engage with the fashion world in a more holistic way. Today we introduce Once Upon a Time with the Vault at UW-Madison, where fashion meets storytelling, business, and creativity. Tonight, we invite you into a world of magic, history, and transformation through Grimm's fairy tales, brought to life through fashion, literature, and music. This semester, over 50 incredible outfits have been created by our talented Vault members under the guidance of our team. Each design draws inspiration from the enchanting and sometimes dark tales of Germanic folklore written by the brothers Grimm, stories passed down through generations, now reimagined for today. Our Vault members have spent months researching, designing, and crafting these one-of-a-kind outfits, each one an homage to the timeless stories that have shaped our cultural imagination. This year's show features not only breathtaking designs, but also a live Philharmonic chorus, bringing these traditional tales to life through modern songs. Together, we'll celebrate the timeless power of storytelling through fashion, music, and imagination. We ask that you please respect a few simple rules during tonight's show. Photos and videos are encouraged, but please no flash photography. Silence your cell phones to help maintain the ambience. And finally, please hold your applause until the end of each song, so we can fully appreciate each stunning design story. Tonight is a celebration of the power of fashion to tell stories. Stories that have been passed down for centuries and continue to inspire us to this day. Thank you for joining us at the Vault, and we hope you enjoy the show. Let's let the magic begin.
Once again, we welcome you all to Grimm's Fairy Tales. Please join me in welcoming Katie Wynn, our narrator for the day, who will kick off our show through synopses of our stories.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Katie Wynn, your narrator for today, and I'm delighted to kick off our first story, Hansel and Gretel. Next to a great forest, there lives a poor woodcutter with his wife and 2 children. The boy's name was Hansel, and the girl's name was Gretel. They had but little to eat, and once, when a great famine came to the land, the father could no longer provide even their daily bread. When the family arrived in the middle of the woods, the father said, "You children gather some wood, and I will make a fire so you won't freeze." When they finally awoke, it was dark at night, and they had been abandoned. Gretel began to cry and said, "How will we get out of the woods?" Hansel comforted her. "Wait a little until the moon comes up, and then we will find the way." After the full moon had come up, Hansel took his little sister by the hand. They were terribly hungry, for they had eaten only a few small berries that were growing on the ground. At midday, they saw a little snow-white bird sitting on a branch, and they followed it until they came to a little house. The bird sat on the roof, and when they came closer, they saw that the little house was built entirely from bread, with a roof made of cake, and the windows were made of clear sugar. Hansel reached up and broke off a little of the roof to see how it tasted. Then a gentle voice called from inside, "Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?" Suddenly the door opened, and a woman as old as the hills and Lou was standing on a crutch, came creeping out. The witch lured them inside and trapped them. Early the next morning before they awoke, the witch got up, went to their beds, and looked at the 2 children lying there so peacefully with their full red cheeks. "They will be a good mouthful," she mumbled to herself. Then she grabbed Hansel with her withered hand and carried him to a little stall, where she locked him behind a cage door. Every morning, the old woman crept out to the stall and shouted, "Hansel, stick out your finger so I can feel if you are fat yet." But Hansel stuck out a little bone, and the old woman, who had bad eyes and could not see the bone, thought it was Hansel's finger, and she wondered why he didn't get fat. The next morning, the old woman said, "I have already made a fire in the oven and kneaded the dough." She pushed poor Gretel outside to the oven, from which fiery flames were leaping. "Climb in," said the witch, "and see if it is hot enough to put the bread in yet." And when Gretel was inside, she intended to close the oven and bake her and eat her as well. But Gretel saw what she had in mind, so she said, "I don't know how to do that. How can I get inside?" "Stupid goose," said the old woman. "The opening is big enough. See, I myself could get in." And she crawled up and stuck her head into the oven. Then Gretel gave her a shove, causing her to fall in. She then closed the iron door and secured it with a bar. The old woman began to howl frightfully, but Gretel ran away, and the godless witch burned up miserably. Gretel ran straight to Hansel, unlocked his stall, and cried, "Hansel, we are saved. The old witch is dead." Then Hansel jumped out like a bird from its cage when someone opened its door. How happy they were. They threw their arms around each other's necks, jumped with joy, and kissed one another. Because they now had nothing to fear, they went into the witch's house. In every corner were chests of pearls and precious stones. After walking a few hours, they arrived at a large body of water. "We cannot get across," said Hansel. "I cannot see a walkway or a bridge, but there is a white duck swimming. If I ask it, it will help us across." The duckling came up to them, and Hansel climbed onto it, then asked his little sister to sit down next to him. That is what the good animal did, and when they were safely on the other side and had walked on a little while, the woods grew more and more familiar to them, and finally they saw the father's house in the distance. They began to run, rushed inside, and threw their arms around the father's neck. And now, the song All is Blind, as sung by our quartet, and our outfits for Hansel and Gretel.
When the darkness opens wide, swallowing up the sun inside, dappled stars they break the sky, blanket on which the moon lies. Why must daylight always dim, creeping dusk so cold and grim? 'Tis the blackness of the night, teaches us how to see the light. Shadows fall upon the earth, burying secrets in the dirt. All is blind and suddenly everything shifts, your eyes they see. Why do shapes look different now? Bitter tongues sound sweet so low. 'Tis the blackness of the night teaches us how to see the light. Why do shapes look different now? Bitter tongues sound sweet so Tis the blackness of the night teaches us how to see the light.
What a lovely rendition as we prepare to enter Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl loved by everyone, especially her grandmother. One day, the grandmother made her a red velvet cape that suited her perfectly. The little girl liked it so much that she wore it all the time, and everyone began calling her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother gave her a beautifully woven straw basket with a piece of cake and a bottle of wine to take to her grandmother, who was sick and needed some cheer. Remember, her mother said, stay on the path, be polite, and don't stray, or you may hurt yourself. Little Red Riding Hood promised to obey and set off through the forest to her grandmother's house. As she walked through the forest, she met a wolf. She didn't know what a dangerous animal he was, so she greeted him kindly. The wolf, wanting to trick her, asked, where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood? To my grandmother's house, she answered. And what are you carrying? He asked, eyeing the basket. Cake and wine for my grandmother who's sick, she said. The wolf, thinking he could eat both the grandmother and Little Red Riding Hood, asked her where her grandmother lived. She told him, her house is deep in the forest under 3 large oaks by a hedge of hazel bushes. While Little Red Riding Hood was admiring the flowers in the forest, the wolf took the quickest route to the grandmother's house. He knocked on the door, and when the grandmother called out, who's there, he mimicked Little Red Riding Hood's voice, saying, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. The grandmother, too weak to get up, told him to press the latch and enter. The wolf immediately ate the grandmother and disguised himself in her clothes, getting into her bed, ready to deceive Little Red. When Little Red Riding Hood finally arrived at her grandmother's house, she was surprised to find the door open. As she entered, she noticed everything seemed strange, but she went onto the bed and pulled back the curtains. There, lying in the bed, was the wolf in grandmother's clothes, with her cape pulled over his face. Grandmother, what big ears you have, she said. All the better to hear you, replied the wolf. Grandmother, what big eyes you have, she said. All the better to see you with, he answered. Grandmother, what a big mouth you have, she said. All the better to eat you with. And with that, the wolf jumped out of bed and ate Little Red Riding Hood. After he finished, the wolf fell asleep in the grandmother's bed, snoring loudly. A huntsman who had been tracking the wolf heard the loud snoring and decided to investigate. He stepped inside and found the wolf in the bed. He took a pair of scissors and cut open the wolf's belly. To his surprise, Little Red Riding Hood jumped out. Then the grandmother emerged, safe and sound as well. The huntsman, the Little Red Riding Hood, and her grandmother then took some heavy stones, filled the wolf's belly with them, and when he awoke, the stones were so heavy that the wolf collapsed and died. The 3 of them celebrated, and Little Red Riding Hood learned an important lesson. I'll never stray from the path again, and they all lived happily ever after. Let's listen to I Know Things Now as sung by our quartet and our outfits for Red Riding Hood.
Mother said, straight ahead, not to delay. is different than good. Now I know, don't be scared, Granny is right, just be prepared. Isn't it nice to know a lot? And a little bit not.
Thank you again to the quartet for that beautiful song as we move into Aschenputtel, a story we know as Cinderella. Once upon a time, a rich man's wife grew ill, and before her death, she called her daughter to her bedside. She told her daughter to remain good and that she would watch over her from heaven. After her mother's death, the girl, filled with grief, went to her grave every day, praying and weeping. She remained kind and virtuous, even though her father remarried and brought a wicked stepmother and two jealous stepsisters into the house. The stepsisters treated her terribly, making her do all the hard work while they enjoyed a life of luxury. They mocked her, took away her beautiful clothes, and gave her rags to wear. They called her Cinderella because she always sat by the hearth in the ashes. One day, the father went to a fair and asked his daughters what he should bring back. The stepsisters asked for 5 dresses and jewels, while Cinderella only asked for a twig from a hazel bush. When he returned, he gave the stepsisters their gifts and handed Cinderella the twig. She planted it on her mother's grave, where it grew into a beautiful tree. Every day she prayed beneath it, and a white bird would grant her wishes, bringing her whatever she needed. Soon the king announced a grand festival to find a bride for his son, and the stepsisters were sent a gorgeous invitation. Cinderella wished she could go, too, but her stepmother told her she couldn't, unless she picked all the lentils out of the ashes. With the help of birds, Cinderella quickly completed the task, but the stepmother still refused. Cinderella, heartbroken, went to her mother's grave again and made a wish. The bird dropped down a magnificent golden dress with matching slippers as if by magic. At the festival, no one recognized Cinderella. The prince danced with her and she enchanted him, but as midnight approached, she fled, leaving behind a golden slipper. The prince, determined to find the owner of the slipper, went to Cinderella's house. The stepsisters tried on the shoe, but it didn't fit. One even cut off her toe, and the other her heel to make the shoe fit. But the birds and the hazel tree revealed their deception. Finally, Cinderella tried on the slipper, and it fit perfectly. The prince recognized her as the girl he had danced with, and they were married. On the day of the wedding, Cinderella's stepsisters came to ask for forgiveness, but the birds punished them for their cruelty, pecking out their eyes. Cinderella lived happily ever after with the prince, and her stepsisters, punished for their wickedness, were left blind. Definitely a different Cinderella than we grew up on, so let's hear A Dream is a Wish the Heart Makes and see our outfits for Cinderella. How gorgeous is that? Now let's learn about Sleeping Beauty, known by the brothers Grimm as Briar Rose. Once upon a time, a king and queen longed for a child. One day, a frog appeared from the water and promised that the family would soon have a daughter. And just as the frog foretold, the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who was named Briar Rose. The king was overjoyed and decided to hold a grand feast, inviting not only relatives and friends, but also 12 wise women from the kingdom to bless his daughter. Unfortunately, he only had 12 golden plates for them, so a 13th wise woman was left out. At the feast, the wise women each bestowed a special gift on the princess. One gave her beauty, another kindness, another wisdom, and so on, until 11 of them had spoken. But then the uninvited 13th woman appeared, furious at being excluded. She cried out in a loud voice, "On the 15th birthday of this princess, she shall prick her finger out on a spindle and die." With that, she left without saying another word. The 12th wise woman, who had not yet spoken, tried to soften the curse. She said, "The princess will not die, but instead will fall into a deep sleep for 100 years. The king, desperate to protect his daughter, ordered all the spindles in the kingdom to be burned. Briar Rose grew up to be a lovely, kind, and clever young woman adored by everyone who met her. But on her 15th birthday, while the king and queen were away, Briar Rose wandered through the castle and discovered a hidden room at the top of a tower. There, she found an old woman spinning flax with a spindle. Without realizing the danger, Briar Rose touched the spindle and the blood seeped out of her pricked finger, and at that moment the curse was fulfilled. She pricked her finger and immediately fell into a deep sleep. But Briar Rose wasn't the only one who slept. As the princess fell unconscious, everyone in the castle did too. The king and queen, the servants, the horses in the stables, even the fire and the hearth, all fell into an enchanted sleep. A thick hedge of thorns began to grow around the castle, and over the years it became so dense that no one could see it anymore. The legend of the beautiful sleeping princess, Briar Rose, spread far and wide, evident by the hundreds of rose bushes that grew outside her bedroom window. Many princes came to try and break the curse, but every one of them was caught by the thorns and died trying to get through. Many years later, after the 100 years had passed, a young prince heard the story from an old man. He learned of the sleeping princess and her enchanted castle and decided to try and save her. The old man warned him that many princes had tried and failed, but the prince was determined. The prince reached the tower where Briar Rose lay sleeping. There, she looked so peaceful and beautiful that he couldn't resist leaning down to kiss her. The moment his lips touched hers, true love prevailed and the curse was broken. Briar Rose awake and the entire castle came back to life. The king and queen opened their eyes, the horses shook themselves awake, the dogs wagged their tails, and the cook, who had been frozen mid-strike, gave the scullion a hearty slap. Briar Rose and the prince were married and the whole kingdom rejoiced. The two lived happily ever after, and the castle, once hidden by the thorns, became a place of joy and celebration for all. Now, the song Once Upon a Dream from Sleeping Beauty and our outfits for this tale as well.
I wonder
Thank you again to the quartet for that song. To finalize the show, we want to end with Rapunzel. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful garden full of flowers and herbs, but it was owned by a powerful Dame Gothel, and no one dared enter it. One day, a childless woman saw a bed of Rapunzel, which was a kind of herb, in the garden, and she longed to have some. Her craving grew so strong that she fell ill. Her husband, deeply worried, climbed over the garden wall at night to steal some Rapunzel. Eventually, the Dame Gothel caught him and demanded that he repay her for stealing her herbs. The man begged for mercy, explaining that his wife would die if she didn't get the Rapunzel. The Dame Gothel softened and agreed to let him take as much as he wanted, but with one condition. She wanted the child his wife would bear. The man, frightened, agreed, and when the baby was born, the Dame Gothel took the child and named her Rapunzel. Rapunzel grew into a beautiful girl, and when she turned 12, the Dame Gothel locked her in a tall tower deep in the forest, with no door or stairs, only a small window at the top. The Dame Gothel would visit her every day, calling out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had long golden hair and beautiful braids, and she would let it down so the Dame Gothel could climb up to the tower. Years passed, and one day the king's son rode through the forest and heard Rapunzel singing. He was enchanted by her voice and came back every day to listen. One day he saw the Dame Gothel call out to Rapunzel, and he realized how she was able to enter the tower. The king's son decided to try it himself. The next evening he called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel was frightened at first when she saw a man, but the king's son spoke kindly to her and explained that he had fallen in love with her voice. Over time, they grew close, and Rapunzel agreed to marry him. She asked him to bring a silk thread each time he visited, and she would weave it into a ladder so she could escape. The Dame Gothel didn't notice what was happening until one day, Rapunzel accidentally mentioned how much easier it was to pull the prince up than the Dame Gothel. Furious, the Dame Gothel cut off Rapunzel's hair, cast her into the wilderness, and waited for the king's son return. When he arrived, she tricked him with the cut hair. The king's son climbed the tower and found the Dame Gothel instead of Rapunzel. She mocked him, telling him that he would never see Rapunzel again. Devastated, the king's son threw himself from the tower and was blinded by the thorns below. Blind and heartbroken, the king's son wandered the forest for years, surviving on roots and weeping for Rapunzel. One day, he happened upon the wilderness where Rapunzel lived with the twins she had borne. When Rapunzel recognized him, she cried and embraced him. Her tears fell into his eyes, healing them, and he could see once again. Together, they returned to the king's son kingdom, where they were joyfully married and they lived happily ever after. Finally, let's listen to I See the Light, modeled by our incredible crew.
Now we want to give it up for all of our models who are joining us one final time with the approximations when you wish upon a star.
Stop.
We also want to take this time to give out some thank yous. So first of all, thank you so much to our narrator, Katie, and thank you to the Approximations for these absolutely stunning musical pieces. Kelsey, Lee, Andy, and Nicole, you four are incredible. So let's hear a round of applause for these guys.
We also want to give a thank you to the Fashion, Art, and Styling Committees, whose tireless work made today happen. So let's hear it for not just our models, but the designers behind the scenes who poured so much into this production. And thank you to Lily Hartzell for her hard work on the pamphlet.
And of course, thank you to all of our vault committees who have helped throughout the whole semester, from promoting this event, organizing the logistics, or just facilitating the growth of the club. We are so grateful for you all. You've helped bring these timeless fairy tales into a new light.
The Vault is more than just a student-run organization. It's a space where creativity, collaboration, and vision come together. It's a place where dreams take shape, where students are empowered to push boundaries, take risks, and create without limits. Tonight, we celebrated more than just fashion. We celebrated the spirit of creativity and collaboration that defines who we are. And with that, we leave you with a final thought. The magic that happens here at the Vault is just the beginning. We've seen firsthand how a shared sense of purpose can create something truly extraordinary, and tonight, you've all had the privilege of seeing the results of that effort.
When we began this journey, we could never have imagined the growth and impact the Vault would achieve. We started as a small group of passionate creatives, has transformed into a thriving network of over 450 members. We've shown that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of magic, anything is possible. But more than the shows, the projects, or even the success stories, the Vault is about people. It's about the talented, passionate, and driven individuals who bring their ideas, skills, and unique perspectives to this community.
In a world where technology is advancing faster than ever and society becomes more digital by the second, we recognize how vital human connection truly is. Events like this, where you can see outfits in motion, hear live music, and actually feel the energy in the room, are experiences that no technology can replicate. These moments remind us of the power of creativity and shared experiences. That's why at the Vault, we're committed to continuing to facilitate these spaces where innovation thrives, diverse voices are amplified, and the next generation of leaders and creators can flourish. Because at its heart, the Vault is about celebrating humanity and the stories that we share through our art. As we look to next semester and towards the future, we will continue to push the envelope.
Let's continue to honor the power of storytelling, whether it's through fashion, music, or imagination. Good night, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for the Vault's Grimm Fairy Tale Fashion Show. We will see you all next semester.